Your mind is your battlefield. If you don't command it, it will command you. Not with force, but with whispers. Doubt, delay, distraction. One thought is all it takes to either build your destiny or burn it down. And if you don't take control of it, someone else will. Comment, "I own my mind," if you're done letting fear and doubt run your life. Your thoughts are not innocent. They shape your decisions, your actions, your future. Most people lose before they even start. Not because they're weak, but because they've surrendered the war in their head. And the worst part, they don't even know it's happening. Every excuse you've made, every goal you've delayed, every dream you've buried started with a thought. I can't. I'm not ready. What will they think? That's not you speaking. That's your mind running wild. And if you don't chain that voice, it will own you. You weren't born to be controlled by fear. You were born to dominate your environment by mastering your inner world. That starts with watching your thoughts like a hawk. Every time doubt shows up, call it out. Every time weakness creeps in, shut it down. Discipline starts in the mind, not in your habits, not in your schedule, in your thoughts. Because a powerful mind produces powerful actions, and a scattered, defeated mind, it makes you average, no matter how much talent you've got. From this moment on, you think on purpose. You believe on purpose. You speak on purpose. Your mind is no longer a playground. It's a weapon. Sharpen it, control it, or be controlled by it. Weak minds chase comfort. Strong minds chase growth. Your mind will always look for the path of least resistance, unless you train it otherwise. That's why the average person hits snooze, avoids discomfort, and runs from the mirror. Not because they're lazy, but because their mind is undisciplined. You don't rise by chance. You rise by choice. And every choice begins in your thoughts. The person who wins isn't always the smartest. They're the ones who've mastered their inner dialogue. They've turned their mind from a critic into a commander. There's a voice in your head right now that doubts you. You know the one. It whispers worst-case scenarios. It reminds you of every failure. It screams when you try to take a risk. That voice is not your truth. It's your test, and your job is to silence it with action. Most people never control their thoughts. They react to them. That's why they're stuck. That's why they plateau. Your mind is not your enemy, but it is your responsibility. If you don't take ownership of your mindset, someone else will install theirs in you, and it will serve their agenda, not yours. You can't build a strong body with a weak mind. You can't create success with a scattered mindset. Everything you want is on the other side of mental discipline, and that means repetition. It means affirming the truth until it becomes your default setting. From today forward, every thought is filtered. Every doubt is questioned. Every fear is confronted. No more passive thinking. No more surrendering to the spiral. You don't let your mind run. You lead it. Control your mind, and you control your emotion. Control your emotion, and you control your decisions. Control your decisions, and you control your life. That's the chain. That's the sequence of power. But if the first link, your mind, is broken, everything falls apart. A thought is not just a thought. It's a seed. If you let it sit long enough, it becomes a belief. Let the wrong thought grow, and suddenly you believe you're not enough. Let it fester, and you stop trying. That's how people go from dreaming to drifting, all because they didn't take one lie captive. You've got to start rejecting thoughts like your life depends on it, because it does. Not every voice in your head deserves a microphone. Not every idea is yours. Some of them were programmed by fear, by failure, by people who gave up and want you to join them. But not you, not anymore. From now on, you test every thought. Is this moving me forward, or is it weakening me? If it weakens you, you replace it, immediately, relentlessly, without negotiation, because the mind, like the body, grows by what it's fed and dies from what's neglected. You don't need a perfect mindset. You need a trained one. A tested one that's been through hell and still holds the line, that's built by choosing discipline when distraction is easier, by choosing strength when emotion screams. That's the mind that leads nations, builds empires, and rewrites destinies. Stop waiting for your mind to feel ready. Command it, sculpt it, force it to align with your mission until your thoughts no longer reflect your past but declare your future. The greatest prison is not behind bars. It's in your head. Most people are free on the outside but locked up in their own thinking. They wake up in fear, move in hesitation, sleep in regret, and all of it built by thoughts they never challenged. You don't rise by chance. You rise by awareness. The moment you realize your thoughts are not facts, you reclaim your power. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean you have to believe it. You are the observer, the gatekeeper, the one who decides what stays and what gets cast out. There is no growth without mental resistance. Your mind will fight you every step of the way. It will tell you to quit. It will tell you it's not worth it. That's how you know you're moving in the right direction, because growth is painful and your mind hates pain. But here's the truth. Pain is temporary. Regret isn't. Choose your suffering. You can suffer the sting of discipline now or the weight of failure later. You can suffer through mental training or suffer a life of mediocrity wondering what you could have been. A trained mind doesn't chase. It attracts. It doesn't beg. It commands. It doesn't panic. It prepares, because when you own your mind, you don't just survive storms. You walk into them with purpose, knowing who you are and where you're going. You're not here to be a slave to your impulses. You're not here to be bullied by your emotions. You are here to lead, to build, to dominate. And that domination starts between your ears, where no one sees, but everything begins. There is no greater threat to the world than a person who has mastered their mind. Because once you control your thoughts, the world loses control over you. No insult can shake you. No failure can stop you. No setback can define you. That's real freedom, and most will never taste it. Discipline isn't just about habits. It's about identity. You become what you consistently think. If your thoughts are scattered, your life will be chaotic. If your thoughts are sharp, your path becomes clear. Your identity doesn't start in your actions. It starts in your inner dialogue. The people who move mountains don't have perfect conditions. They have powerful minds. They don't wait for motivation. They don't beg for support. They wake up with fire because their mind has been trained to burn every single day. And yes, it's hard. Training the mind is war. It's waking up and choosing to push when your body says stop. It's hearing the old voices and silencing them with truth. It's replacing doubt with belief, not once but relentlessly until doubt loses its voice entirely. You can't tiptoe into mental mastery. You fight for it. You bleed for it. You stay in the fire when everyone else runs. That's what makes you different. That's what sets you apart. Not talent, not luck. Relentless mental control. From now on, you don't let the day run your mind. You run the day with purpose, with clarity, with the mindset of a warrior. You're not here to survive. You're here to command your reality, thought by thought, hour by hour, until your life reflects your inner power. Your thoughts are either bricks or bombs. They either build your future or blow up your progress. And the difference is your awareness. Are you watching your thoughts, or are you letting them run wild while wondering why you feel lost? Most people live on autopilot. Wake up, react, repeat. Their mind is a sponge, soaking up fear, judgment, weakness, and they wonder why their life never changes, because the blueprint is broken. And that blueprint lives in the mind. Until you rebuild it, you stay stuck. Mental mastery means you stop reacting. You start designing. You don't wait for thoughts to come. You create them intentionally, strategically, with language that pulls you forward, not words that trap you in the past. You speak like someone who's already become the person they're chasing. No more I hope. No more I wish. From now on, it's I am. Speak it until your subconscious has no choice but to follow. Your mind isn't looking for truth. It's looking for repetition. Feed it power, and it will echo that power back in every decision. Every powerful person you admire, they rewired their mind before they built their empire. The mental work came first. The discipline, the silence, the war within. That's what separates average from elite. the willingness to master what no one else sees. So get in the ring. Train your thoughts. Interrupt the doubt. Replace the noise. Speak the vision, because your mind is not a mirror of the past. It's the architect of your future, and it's time to build something unshakable. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. You don't need more motivation. You need mental precision. The most dangerous thing in the world is a focused mind, not angry, not emotional, just locked in. That's the mindset that bends reality. The world will test your mind every day. It will throw chaos at you, distractions, doubts, delays, and it's not random. It's targeted. Because when your focus rises, your power multiplies, and weak systems around you will panic. They'll try to pull you back into confusion, but you don't move like that anymore. You've outgrown the spiral. You've outgrown the doubt. You don't respond to noise. You respond to goals. And your goals don't care how you feel. Your legacy doesn't care if you're tired. Your future only responds to one thing: discipline. When your mind is strong, emotions don't control you. You control them. Temptation doesn't win. Distraction doesn't enter. You become a gatekeeper. Every thought is filtered. Every action is chosen. That's the mindset of a king. That's how warriors lead. Stop giving power to thoughts that produce nothing. Starve your excuses. Starve your fears. Starve anything that doesn't grow you. This is the season of mental famine for anything that weakens your fire. Only strength gets fed from now on. You've made it too far to start doubting yourself again. You've climbed out of too much to start entertaining weakness. So remember this: if you can command your mind, you can conquer anything. There is no external enemy more dangerous than the war inside your mind, because what you allow to live in your thoughts becomes law in your life. If fear dominates your thinking, it will dominate your reality. If doubt drives your mind, it will crash your future. You don't fix your life by changing your circumstances. You fix your life by transforming your mindset, because your outer world is nothing but a reflection of your inner command center. Every relationship, every habit, every result, all of it begins in thought. Don't wait until your life crumbles to respect your mindset. By then it's too late. The damage is already done. Start now. Start when no one sees you. Start in silence, where all real power is built, because the strongest minds are forged in isolation, not applause. You must be ruthless with what you allow into your head. Social media isn't harmless. Gossip isn't neutral. Lazy thinking isn't a break. It's poison. One weak thought can undo hours of clarity. One scroll can derail your energy for the whole day. Build a fortress, a system of thought that rejects weakness like an immune system fights off disease. You don't just need good ideas, you need mental immunity. And that immunity only comes through discipline, through filtering, through repetition of truth, until no lie can enter. This is not optional. This is survival. In a world that profits off confusion, your clarity is rebellion. Your focus is power. Your mindset is the last line of defense between who you are and who you're becoming. Your life will never rise higher than the quality of your thoughts. That's the ceiling. That's the limit. If your mind stays average, your results stay average, no matter how hard you hustle, because hustle without mental control is chaos. It's running in circles with no target. You weren't born to chase every shiny thing. You were born to lock in and execute, and that execution starts with clarity, with intention, with a mind that knows exactly what it wants and refuses to settle for anything less. That's the mindset that builds empires. When you focus your mind, the world adjusts. People fall off, distractions fade, doors open, not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. And clarity attracts opportunity the way confusion attracts chaos. Mental power means you no longer need motivation. You move without hype. You move without noise, because your mind has been trained to go no matter how it feels. That's the difference between the weak and the great. One waits, the other moves anyway. You've been waiting too long for permission, waiting to feel ready, waiting for the fear to go away. It won't. But that's the test, to move with fear in your shadow and power in your grip, to lead your mind where your soul already knows you belong. Stop bowing to temporary feelings. Start building with permanent vision. Your thoughts aren't suggestions. They're the script you live by. So rewrite them, reinforce them. Speak only what builds, what sharpens, what dominates. The moment you start thinking with precision, your life becomes intentional. Nothing is random anymore. You don't just wake up and see what happens. You command the day. You enter every room with presence. You move like someone who knows their thoughts are building their legacy. You can't afford to let your thoughts wander. Not at this level. Not with what you're called to do. A distracted mind is a defeated mission, and the world is designed to keep you mentally scattered, because scattered people never finish anything. Look around. Most people aren't failing because they're not capable. They're failing because their mind is cluttered, full of fears, opinions, drama, regret. You can't focus forward when your head is filled with ghosts from the past. Cut the noise. Detox your mental space. Every day, declutter your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Write, meditate, reflect, get still. Most people fear silence, but silence is where the command voice of your mind comes alive. You don't need more information. You need more integration, more space to think clearly. The more clarity you build, the faster you move. The faster you move, the more momentum you build. And the more momentum you have, the less resistance can stop you. This is how you take over your life, not with brute force, but with unshakable mental clarity. That's how warriors win, not because they're stronger, but because their minds are unbreakable. If you want to be free, stop waiting for the world to give you peace. Create it in your mind first, because peace doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from command, from knowing you can walk through hell and keep your head clear. That's real power. Most people chase control over everything, except themselves. They want the schedule, the money, the respect, but they never master the one thing that drives it all, their mind. And without that, everything else crumbles under pressure. Mental power is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to push and when to wait, when to rest and when to rage forward. It's not just discipline, it's wisdom. It's the inner awareness that no one can teach. You build it through battle. And you've been in battle. You've had seasons where your own mind became the enemy, where you couldn't tell if the voice in your head was protecting you or holding you hostage. But here you are, standing, learning, rising. That means the war isn't over. You're winning it. Keep fighting. Keep training. Because every time you reject a weak thought, you build armor. Every time you replace fear with truth, you build muscle. And every time you dominate your mental state, you step deeper into your highest self. You're not here to react. You're here to rule. You're not here to survive. You're here to lead. And that leadership starts with the most difficult, most essential battle of all, the one in your own mind. The mind is a battlefield where most people never show up. They lose to themselves before life even throws a punch. They rehearse failure. They visualize defeat. And then they're surprised when life matches that script. But not you, not anymore. You're rewriting the playbook, thought by thought. If your mind can imagine worst-case scenarios, it can also envision greatness. If it can play fear on a loop, it can repeat success until it becomes your default setting. The difference isn't ability, it's direction. Where are you pointing your mental energy? The most powerful shift you'll ever make is this. Your mind is a servant, not a master. It works for you. And if it isn't producing what you need, it's time to retrain it. Starve the fear. Starve the doubt. Feed the vision. Feed the fight. Don't waste your life asking, what if I fail? That question is poison. Ask, what if I win? What if you push through this season and become everything you were designed to be? What if your mind becomes so disciplined? Nothing can break your focus again. Most people are afraid of losing. You need to be more afraid of staying the same, because staying mentally weak costs you everything, your peace, your progress, your power. The price of mental chaos is your entire life. But you're not paying that price anymore. You've already sacrificed too much. From now on, you lead with strength, you lead with clarity, you lead with a mind that's not just awake, but unstoppable. Your next level isn't unlocked by more hustle, it's unlocked by more mental control. You're not stuck because of your effort. You're stuck because of how you think about effort. Because deep down, you've still got 1 foot in survival mode and 1 foot in possibility. That split is killing your momentum. You can't win with a divided mind. You can't rise with a heart at war with your thoughts. Decide once and for all that from this moment forward, your mind serves your mission, not your emotions, not your fears, not your limitations. Repetition is your weapon. You don't need more hype. You need mental standards. Thoughts that are so locked in, they don't shift with mood swings. Beliefs that don't bend with emotion. This isn't a motivational high. This is identity warfare. Who you used to be versus who you must become. You've already tasted what happens when you let your thoughts run wild, exhaustion, confusion, distraction. But now you're learning what happens when you harness them. When you silence the noise and speak vision into the void. That's when alignment hits. That's when everything shifts. Because the moment you stop feeding weakness, strength shows up. You don't find it in a quote or a video. You find it in the quiet moment where you refuse to give up. In the silence where you whisper to your doubt. You don't own me anymore. That's the moment. Power is born. Not on stages, not in crowds, but in the privacy of your own mind. When you choose domination over hesitation, clarity over confusion, and purpose over comfort. You've made it this far for a reason. Not because life made it easy, but because something inside you refused to die. And now that something has a name, mental power. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's the most dangerous thing you can carry. Because once your mind is unshakable, the world loses its grip on you. Every voice that told you to quit, you outlasted it. Every doubt that said you weren't ready, you outworked it. Every fear that tried to paralyze you, you walked through it. That's the proof. That's the fire. You're no longer guessing if you're strong enough. You've proven it. And now you lead. Not with noise, but with focus. Not with ego, but with purpose. You don't need applause. Your silence is enough. Because a disciplined mind doesn't chase validation. It radiates authority. You speak less. You move sharper. You command without chaos. Protect that energy. Protect that mind. Because it's the source of every decision, every move, every result you'll ever create. This isn't just about success. This is about ownership. Owning your future. Owning your habits. Owning your identity. You don't owe the world an explanation for your focus. You owe yourself a life built from it. So from this day forward, you think like a warrior, move like a king, protect your mind like it's the throne from which your entire future is ruled. If you've made it this far, drop a 100 in the comments. It shows you are part of the 1% that's improving every single day.